good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another day of the Overwatch League. APAC is back. And oh boy, am I ready to dive in. It's been a good long while since we've seen all of your beautiful faces sitting behind those PC monitors. But I'm Achilleos, and that is Avril, just in case you may have forgotten. I know it's been a good long time since we've gotten to cast. But I'm ready to dive into the action and take a look at this wild new meta that we've got on our hands.
Oh, it certainly is. And look, our region in the East was already pretty wild even before Junker Queen came in the mix. I expect it to only get more wild from here on out. We've had some crazy results in the West with the NA teams. Everybody's been beating everybody. The upsets have been in full swing. Clads have lost twice. I have no idea who's going to beat who here. I mean, maybe just beat anyone's game.
Well, starting things off, we're going to have the Shanghai Dragons going up against the Guangzhou Charge. And if it's anything like North America, Charge could be in with a pretty good shot at taking down the Shanghai Dragons, who didn't have the strongest showing over the midseason madness. First, though, let's go ahead and recap a little bit, take a look at our standings, and see where everything lies here in the APAC region. Dynasty still well out in front, but the Hangzhou Spark, who are going to be facing off against them in our second series this evening, are nipping at their heels.
This is a big opportunity for the teams at the bottom to try and catch up as well, because we are in the new stage, the new tournament, the Summer Showdown. Previous points from previous tournaments and tournaments, not previous qualifiers and the tournaments, don't apply. Everybody gets a fresh opportunity to make the next tournament. So for teams like Guangzhou, like the Valiant, like Chengdu have kind of missed out the entire way through, this is the opportunity, especially for Guangzhou. Brand new lineup. We'll have to look at their lineup very soon. But Shanghai, like you sort of mentioned, they need a little bit of a bounce back as well. Given that, okay, they did make tournaments. They have got points in there. They are third in the standings. They got knocked out probably a lot sooner in the midseason madness than they wanted to.
They certainly did. Well, we'll see if they can have a stronger performance here as we take a look at the starting lineup. And we were talking about it before the show, while we were doing our rehearsal so many hours ago. And yeah, it's going to be Who Are You? Genji is back in the meta, which means that Who Are You is back in a starting five. And we've even got a photo for him this time around. Everything's just looking better here for the side of the Shanghai Dragons. And it's good to see his familiar face. Void, of course, going to be starting as well here for the side of the Dragons. We'll see if that stays true or if they're going to maybe experiment a little bit with fate as we go through this, but we'll have to just wait and see.
And I think, Shanghai have been through multiple experiments with, okay, is it Void's time to play? Is he going to be the starting player? I think in Kickoff Clash he did play a decent amount. But then in Midseason Madness, Void was struggling, so they brought in Fate, and Fate started having a lot more success. Void ended up riding the bench here. Now as we head into the new meta for Summer Showdown, obviously we talk about Genji being important for Who Are You, but there's no clear indication of who the better Junker Queen is yet, and Shanghai, they put their trust in Void.
That they have. We'll see if that pays off or if they're going to have to reassess. But on the other side of the arena is the Guangzhou Charge, a team that is looking to really level up after an incredibly lackluster performance so far this season. You guys saw the record, the 1-11. It doesn't look great, but as you were talking about, Avril, this is a time for a fresh start. Wipe the slate clean. Come back in here now with this new meta and look to take hold of the region. If they can do that, then there's certainly an opportunity for them to bounce back.
I mean, in 12 regular season games so far, obviously no tournament entries for the Guangzhou Charge. They've only won one match out of a total 12. They're 1-11 record. That one game was versus Valiant in the first week. And since then, in this Mid-Season Madness, after ending those qualifiers, they made some heavy roster swaps. They brought in 3 new players, with 3 very familiar players if you watched any Overwatch League in the Eastern region last year. Jimmy and Xerneas. Xerneas is Yveltal, just changed his name, so Jimmy and Yveltal joining in. After playing for the academy team of Guangzhou Charge called Ultra Prime Academy, which, by the way, I think is one of the cooler names out there. But Ultra Prime also had a Predator on the team who was the superstar rookie on the Chengdu Hunters that got cut before the start of the season that everyone, had basically said was going to be the top rookie prospect for the Chengdu Hunters that ended up not being part of that team because Chengdu downsized. Now he's been picked up by the Guangzhou Chargers set, and he will hopefully be able to make his league debut. But it is going to be Jimmy starting over a Predator for now in a Sojin-based meta.
We'll see how they fare. The Guangzhou Charge, again, the numbers stacked against them, but as we have seen over in North America, anything can happen. They can go ahead and take down the side of the Shanghai Dragons, who will then make a tweet saying, this is insult or blah, 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 whatever, whatever the copy pasta is at this point. But, yeah, I mean, both teams have a lot to prove, given that this is going to be the first showing for the APAC region running this meta, at least in the Overwatch League, because you, of course, have had a good amount of experience casting this down in contenders and whatnot. So this will be my first exposure, and I can't wait to get involved.
Oh well, we'll see how you feel about it at the end of the night. Here, you're kind of like, oh, I'm curious. Like, we'll see how it goes. By the end of the night, like, save me, please, release me from this prison. As I'm sitting there with the noose around my neck, like, first time, huh? Like,
Yeah.
Only been here for a month.
We'll see.
It will be interesting.
Could very well.
I think the good thing about the meta is, I mean, if you haven't paid attention to the West, we're playing Junker Queen. We're playing a lot of Junker Queen. I don't expect to see any other tank unless a team is trying to go for a desperation. Oh, it's 99% and we have to touch a Wrecking Ball kind of situation, or maybe a Doom in that same position. It's going to be all Junker Queen. It's going to be double main support as well. And I think this is only our second time ever with a double main support meta. The first was Season 1, Mercy Lucio. Since then, if my memory serves correct, we haven't actually had a double main support meta just yet. We've had a very diverse round of different metas for our support players, right? Because we've had the typical one main support, one flex support. We just had double flex support. Now we got double main support. And the interesting thing about this double main support combo is Yveltal, aka Xerneas, and Faraway have had plenty of time playing with each other on last year's very successful Chengdu Hunter. So in a very future matchup between Charge and Chengdu, that's going to be really exciting because there's a bunch of ex-Chengdu members on the squad. So I'm hoping for a lot of synergy between Xerneas and Faraway for that reason.
We'll see what happens. Far away right now, living up to the name. Not going to be playing over at his PC for the moment. So just wait for him to sit down, get everybody into the lobby, and then from there we should be able to get things underway. It's like I believe everybody on the side of the Shanghai Dragons, despite not having the cams on right now, should be ready to go in the lobby. So we're just waiting for everybody to get settled. It's the first day back. You got to get used to the schedule. Maybe wake up a little bit earlier than these players are used to, because even though it is in the evening, these are gamer hours we're talking about. So, could have had just Faraway and Jimmy just roll out of bed.
God, Seth, how on earth did anybody wake up for the mid-season madness schedules? I do wonder.
They didn't. They just stayed awake the whole night, and they just didn't sleep ahead of time.
Well, in the case of Charge, they didn't play the mid-season madness. They didn't have to change the sleeping schedule at all. But maybe the fates will change for this stage now with 3 new members coming on in, 2 of which will be joining the starting lineup for now. And, I think, could this be the time that, we've talked about players like Choice One and Krong being probably 2 of the better members on the Guangzhou Charge, and is it time that they have the right support structure with the level and quality of teammates around them? I know for some people, Jimmy might be still a little bit of a meme, because you remember Jimmy from last year playing for Chengdu, and he was a bit of a meme player. Custer had a lot of fun time watching this guy as well. But from looking at his time in Ultra Prime Academy in Contenders Korea, by the way, which is where they played, Jimmy was honestly one of the better Sojins that we'd seen. And there's a reason why he is starting over Apritta, and Apritta is generally regarded as the better player than Jimmy. But specifically for Sojin, Jimmy has been, in the games that I casted with both of them in, Jimmy was the better Sojin player. So I don't know if we're really going to see too much of Apritta just yet for this stage, because he is still a rookie that hasn't debuted yet. And we won't be seeing him debut, at least not for map 1. Maybe there's another map he comes in for, but certainly not at this exact time. Really excited to see how Jimmy and Choice One work together.
As am I. Well, the players are getting ready up in the lobby, so I think we should be jumping into our map set here in just a moment. Take a peek at where these teams are going to be clashing, as of course the pool has changed moving forward into this next block of the tournament. So we'll see where they end up clashing and if we get some new maps, because it's been a damn long while. And out the rip, we'll be seeing Nepal, then go into Hollywood. I'm like, oh my God, I'm just now realizing how long it's been since I've gotten to commentate these. I
think Hollywood might still be one of my favorite maps ever. It is just such a sweet map design.
It's just, it's like right up there with King's Row. It's so nice.
I think so.
And like even.
Here's the only downside of, well, there's no real downside, but to set expectations properly as we head into map number 1 here on the poll. Last stage, Mid-Season Madness, I mean, we talked a whole bunch about map choices, team map drafting strategy, where teams might like to go. Here, not only because it's a new stage, but this particular meta, you're not expecting anything to really change between the maps, because we're going to be playing pretty much 99% the same composition everywhere. So, and in kind of a way, it's a level playing ground for everybody. So we'll see how they manage that situation. As you can see on your screens, this is what we're playing. Jimmy and Lip will be changing the Sojin, and out we go. Here we go. Nepal Sanctuary.
Swaps coming through. Is the Sojin just going to be a little bit further behind? Look at the join in. Quick to the point here. Are the Guangzhou Charge already going to be set firmly? Is Krong taking a little bit of chip damage? Who are you trying to get up close and personal? But quite a bit of damage down onto Choice A1. The deflect now going to be popped. Choice A1 matching. They go ahead, go their separate ways. Just poking and prodding so far here on both sides. And as I know, this is going to be a lot of the gameplay for now. Big chunk of damage out of the choice at 1, though.
Shouts have been used at this stage, Who Are You low as well. He actually gets the fadeaway kill. Who Are You, despite being on 1 HP, he gets a frag.
Yeah, amazingly manages to come up with that, stays alive. Knife does go out from Krong, just find Lip, taking him down, but widely the fight being won here, the point locked in from the side of the Shanghai Dragons. Void now pushing in from behind, catches Krong unawares, looks for a little bit more. Jimmy with a nice little rail headshot there to Lee Jae-gon will slow up the Lucio, but obviously he'll rejoin in rather quickly, and the Shanghai Dragons will be able to hold the point after the first fight victory.
It's so important for the Genji player to be pop-off here as well. It's what I think is the most important member on the team. I know Junker Queen is kind of the center stage character we all look at, but the Genji players make the plays, they get the frags. They are the ones that pop-off, have those huge moments with the dash reset. So, Who Are You very close to Blade already? Next fight starting.
There it is. Back to the poke and prodding, looking to build up. Who Are You with a very nice lead towards that Dragon Blade. Now just 7% left to go. Choice 1 so very far away. He's not finding nearly as many eliminations or just damage straight up. And yeah, we'll have to see when he does want to pull this. For now, he's split off away from the rest of the squad. 1% left to go. Finally, we'll go ahead and get the hit. And they've isolated Jimmy for the moment. Takes a slide, jumps back in onto the high ground. Now that's going to be the sound barrier coming in from Xerneas to go ahead and try to keep everybody alive.
Oh, clutch beat.
On the opposite side as the rallies come through from both sides as well. The blade's going to be pulled. Lip, rail shot there on the far away. Shuts down the rally from the side of the Guangzhou charge. The cleanup comes through. Who Are You picking up 2 with his ult? Choice 1 will be the last one to fall. A little bit of stagger as the team kill comes in, and it's about to be 70% locked in for the side of the Dragons.
Yeah, and only now the Junker Queen's about to approach their first rampages so far. Choice 1 obviously is on the Blade. There's no more support ultimate, so these rampages are going to hurt. This is real damage coming on through now as the Blade from Choice 1. Really clutch beat coming through for Lee Jae-gon that saved Izyaki's life, otherwise he would have dropped his rally. So big plays there. The Sojourn ultimate's also coming along for Jimmy and Lip.
Okay. He's going to go ahead and pop the overclock.
Oh,
Tons of damage on a Krong, and they interrupt the ult. Not going to be able to use it. Not going to find any of that heal tonight coming through. They just completely shut him out. Now Choice 1 Desperation pulls the blade, but there is nothing to be found. But death is Who Are You. Cleans up 3 in the back end of the fight. A clean sweep. 100% to 0. Shanghai Dragons taking the first round.
Wow, I mean, technically speaking, I'll just backtrack on a comment I made. It wasn't a cancellation on Krong's rampage. He technically did hit Void, but because he died so early, he never got to extend the rampage past Void onto any other member of the Shanghai Dragons. So effectively, because it didn't really do anything to Void, he was still kept alive. He's a very tanky player. Yeah, the ultimate didn't get the value at all, and it comes through from a humongous headshot we saw from Lip's POV, noting that the overclocks are available for both players. Lip pops it, gets an instant full charge headshot onto Krong, chunks him down, and then when the rampages are expended and exchanged, Krong is dead early. When your Junker Queen's gone like that, yeah, the fight's over.
Here's just the cleanup from Who Are You on the back end, just stopping Jimmy from being able to use his ult, immediately identifies where Choice 1 is at.
Yeah.
And just
Kills
cuts him down to size.
Blade.
Cleanly done.
It's 2 ultimates that are expended and gone. So here we go, starting the new fight now. Already in the neutral on the side. Void low.
Yep, commanding shot already burns here. Krong's trying to keep everybody alive, and an immense amount of damage and pressure being applied, however, and he just cannot stay in the fight. Void comes up with the kill, the cleanup chase comes in as well. They're looking for some extra staggers while the point does get capped in the back. You can see just how deep, how confident they are playing this out, and Jimmy will end up falling. Lee Jae-gon again going to be a casualty, but can rejoin in very swiftly.
Who Are You's been sick so far. I mean, over the course of a round a little bit, he's already 10 out of 18 final blows for the Shanghai Dragons, so he's more than deadlifting currently. Expecting that to go on further forward. He is outpacing Choice 1. 2 opening neutrals in a row now towards the first Blade by a lot, a fair margin. Look at that.
Who Are You again? Just basically playing solo. Has a little bit of reinforcement there, but Choice 1 will manage to take him down to the very end. Nice little headshot coming through to get the punish. Now Void eliminated. It seems like Guangzhou Charge might get their first taste of cap on the point, as they will go ahead and find some extra kills in the back end. The support's falling down. Everybody else just heading for the hills, trying to stay alive. And the cap will be there, so finally gaining some percentage. 36 only picked up for the side of the Shanghai Dragons, so certainly is winnable for the side of the Charge to tie this up.
Well, this is the first team fight the Charge have actually won so far on this particular map over the course of a round and a bit now. So important they've done that. Also, killing Who Are You will slow him down slightly, or at the minimum, allow Choice 1 to catch up. Allow the supports to catch up as well, because you do need to counter this Blade in some way. And both Xerneas are so far away. Excuse the pun, but they're too far away from ults.
There's the pull. a good amount of healing coming through, just trying to keep everybody alive, but they end up falling in the end. Jimmy will answer back, but they lose 2. Trade up still going to be there for the side of the Shanghai Dragons. They're looking to occupy the point. Dragon Blade not going to get a connection that they're looking for here as the rally comes rolling through from both sides. Legion still going to be holding on to the sound barrier. Xerneas now just trying to build up for one of his own, and Jimmy just pressured out. As soon as the overclock gets popped, he gets taken out. Choice1 pulls the blade, dashing through, finds Izayaki. Now he's just slicing at air. The point already capped, the lead very much established here for the side of the Shanghai Dragons. Legion putting himself in a bit of a rough position, will end up falling in the end. However, can they get their way over to the point? Can they find more punish? So it looks like the answer is going to be yes. Krong does find one. Lip now popping the nano clock, or the overclock. Doesn't have the nano, obviously, to go with it. Just looking for an extra shot.
Nice shot.
Choice1 lines them up. Choice1 just kind of diving right in front of that one, and the point will be held by Dragons.
A very clutch overclock coming on through, and this is kind of what we're seeing through these teams as well, where both teams are not willing to give up these fights. Guangzhou Charge holding the initial cap up to 34, expended ultimates. Rally, I believe, a 3-man rally. Izayaki responds with his own rally for a 4-man. And the teams just have a very long extended fight that eventually goes the way of Shanghai Dragons. And now forcing a final fight situation. Rampage versus nearly a Rampage, but the beat is available for Xerneas. He will need to hold that for the Rampage.
Yeah. Has it at the ready, unless they can get a massive shutdown onto Void like we saw happen at Krong at the very end of that first round. Might be able to find some good value. So yeah, Xerneas does need to be ready. The touch is there. Jimmy finding one. Lip going to be taken out now. Beat going to be dropped in by Xerneas. Just going ahead, shielding everybody up. Who are you, however, still managing to find Choice1. Jimmy trying to line up that shot, manages to get it. Izayaki out of the fray, and now it seems like the Guangzhou Charge should be able to yet once more fight back. The flip will be there. They're starting at 35%, so they need to hold this for a damn long while, but they might just be able to get some additional staggers as they look to try to take down Void, who is currently still segregated from the rest of the squad off on the flank here.
It's too hard to go after them because they lost Krong, so they need their own main tank, or they don't really want to go and aggress into Void on their own, especially when the healing is so good. The support's still alive to keep Void up. So it's just going to be a bit of a reset here. Shanghai Dragons don't lose extra. Jimmy with a huge heroic, so double kill there to really set the stage. Krong now has sole ultimate available for both teams.
He does, but a couple people not too far behind, far away now. Has the rally online, pops that one, Krong going low. It's the anti-out onto 2 from the Rampage. Kill's not there to follow, however, but the point's still being held. Shanghai Dragons forced back to retreat. Choice1 plays forward on the corner now, has to back away, but Xerneas, he's overstepped. Lip lines him up, gets him in his sights. A great rail headshot to go ahead and take down the enemy Lucio as they look to take the point. Choice1 off the side of the map somehow. I'm not sure what happened there. Maybe a missed dash. Either way, that could be catastrophic, and that could absolutely cost them, and it seems like it's going to. The flip comes in. Choice1 respawning right as his Dragon Blade becomes available, but will he get to use it? Blade is pulled from Who Are You? They take down Xerneas. That was their time buy. That was their delay. And the OT will go ahead and drain down. The second round taken by the Shanghai Dragons, which means they pick up the first map of Nepal.
It could have been a unregistered boop kill as well. Sometimes, you know, I think on
could happen.
These kind of beta 2 patches, sometimes you do have boop kills, but it doesn't credit the kill to the person doing it. So it could have come from anybody between Izayaki and Lee Jae-gon. Who knows at the end of the day? I have to assume Choi doesn't make mistakes like just dashing off the map. But it is pretty tragic that that kill came on through. However, you know, some of the other kills that came on through as well, Xerneas being shut down as he's trying to wall ride and make a play. I can't really fault him for that because as a Lucio player, especially on a map like Sanctum, you want to be displacing, you want to go for boops, you want to make plays happen. Lip gets the kill, but the best thing that Shanghai Dragons did was they disengaged from Krong's Rampage. They didn't really lose anybody at all. Krong was caught between the rock and a hard place. Does he go for it? Does he not go for it? If he doesn't go for it, the Shanghai Dragons have counter ultimates available, so they felt pressure to do it, and well, if they can't get a successful Rampage, they don't win the fight, they don't win the map.
Well, some signs of life pulse felt there from the side of the Guangzhou Charge in the second round, but unfortunately not able to extend it into a third on Village, but that is the Shanghai Dragons drawing first blood, getting that map lead. Now we'll turn our sights over to Hollywood as we get ready to go into Hybrid. We'll see whether or not the Guangzhou Charge can continue to look alive and find some footing, tie things up, or if the Shanghai Dragons will be able to take it to series point. That's going to come up in just a few minutes, but first we'll have a quick little break, so don't you go anywhere. And we are back. The Shanghai Dragons able to take Nepal, which was great to see Nepal. Unfortunately, we didn't get the World Tour. We didn't get to go all the way to 3 rounds. Guangzhou Charge fighting back just a little bit there on Sanctum, but unfortunately cannot get the win. Now we turn our sights over to Hollywood, a map once more that I haven't gotten to cast in quite some time, so I'm looking forward to this one. A breath of fresh air as we move into Hybrid to see whether or not the Charge can, in fact, tie this up.
And I'm very curious as to how teams will navigate the B point specifically around all the different high grounds. The elevator control will be obviously quite important. This is the type of meta as well where, you know, if you are a ground-based team like a Junker Queen composition is, and you want to be taking the high ground, somebody still has to push the payload. So realistically, we're talking about kind of like a 4-man take of the high ground with maybe a solo pushing Genji that needs to dash up and help. So it'll be interesting how teams handle it, but don't expect any changes to the composition between the teams. It really is just Junker Queen all the way.
Let's see how they decide to pilot this one as we jump into the action. Standard California, well, I can't say that word, person. Showing their, flexing their wealth on all of us.
I don't know if anyone would ever, I say no one would ever have a plate like that, but
oh, it
somebody
exists.
would. Probably somebody does.
This is based on reality for sure. Spend enough time in Los Angeles and you'll see some
life
stuff.
Imitates art.
Yep. Art imitating life. Well, first on the defense here for the side of the Guangzhou Charge. And it would be wild. I would love for the Shanghai Dragons to just run what they have currently hovered, but just for an experiment. But we know what this is going to be.
It's not impossible to see a fire. The problem is, I mean, the fire gets very easily countered by an echo, which is the only time that you will see an echo, and then you have this rock, paper, scissors thing where then one team goes an echo and the other one responds by going back to the Genji. But you know, as expected, we're just going to play the same things here. Lippers had a pretty big game so far in the Sojourn, I've got to say. I mean, I still remember that massive headshot shutdown to Krong on our first round. Big rotation coming through the left. Well, actually, not in a complete rotation, trying to bait Guangzhou Charge, and maybe it worked.
All right. Nade coming down, just to stop them from advancing forward over towards the stairwell. Up onto the high ground here is Jimmy, quickly going to be dropping down as that rail charged up. Clips who are you right in the wings, but it's not enough to find that elimination yet. Still hovering in low HP, Legion going to his rescue.
Charge have lost some
up
space.
There into the cafe.
Look how far back they are.
Yeah. Hell of a lot of space being given up. The point now being occupied. The contest is there, however. Just need to get a pick to try to win out this fight. Stop the cap from coming through, but Cerny's is going to be the first one to fall. Who are you getting on top of him? And Void able to find the shot. The Jagged Blade as well through to Jimmy. Cuts him down to size. 2 quick picks coming in now. A tick already established. The second one getting ready to roll through from the side of the Shanghai Dragons. A bit of a fight back though. But as I say that, Choice A1, he finds one, but they will lose their main tank. Deflection will expire. Who are you? Just waits it out, gets the melee shot. Cerny is just now re-arriving to the fight. It's immediately going to be taken down once more, and the cap will come in. Not even 2 minutes to go ahead and snatch up point 8. It's now 5 minutes plus in the time bank as we move into the streets phase.
I mean, that was just masterclass from the Shanghai Dragons, choking the Guangzhou Charge out. You see the positional difference there. They begin with this kind of rotational bait to already misposition the Charge by forcing the Charge back from applying pressure towards the choke, and then further from that, just the exchange of damage means that Charge, they have nowhere to play through. Xerneas gets caught out, and it's perfect staggering of deaths as well, so that Charge can never regroup as 5 for a retake. Now the Shanghai Dragons, like I said, with plenty of time available and ultimates available as well, who are you once again outpacing Choi by quite a fair margin.
Cart steadily moving forward for the time being as Charge occupy the high ground. At some point, going to have to drop down. Look to contest this, maybe around the final corner. There it is. Pulse getting ready to come online, though. Who are you holding his own? It's going to be commanding shout, trying to get everybody up the rampage from Void. Going to take down Krong as they just duke it out right in melee range. And now Void has an opportunity to go ahead and overtake the lead. Quick dash to the side. Xerneas is dead. Cart again opened up, and it's making such fantastic pace here for the side of the Dragons.
You have to question how Krong dies mid-rally as well. He's being supported by 2 supports AoE healing, plus extra rally, you know, green HP as well. Plus, you have to imagine the shout. I couldn't remember where Krong applied it, but the shout would have been in there as well. That was the cheapest fight possible with Dragons. They only use a rally, they get a full 5-minute wipe, and they get rid of the rally on the other side as well.
Now it's going to be the blade pulled out. Sound barrier from Xerneas in response to try to keep everybody alive. Jimmy pops the overclock, but everybody just piles in on top of him. Just no way for them to peel, no way to try to keep him alive. They do get the nice ante out on 2 more members. The Izayaki going to take it down. Krong finding 1 with the Jagged Blade. However, trying to keep them in this, but the overclock is going to expire here rather soon. Still, however, managing to find another kill and a follow-up. Who Are You gets one of his own. Krong down to a sliver of HP, trying to hide out behind the backside of the limousine, but there's just nowhere for him to go. The cleanup will come in with 2 members left standing.
Man.
It looked like the cleanup is going to be there. Choice They Want desperately swaps over to the Tracer just to try to get the tag and keep this contested, but the cart has already capped B, so now it's 4.5 minutes for the final stretch.
I mean, not bad contesting by Choi as well. It's very low risk. You'll see that when Choi respawns back, he'll be on the Genji with the advanced ult charge as well. So coming back on a Tracer, doing some damage. He only lost, what, 10% ult charge with the new DPS passive. That's pretty worth in terms of at least draining a bit of time down for the Shanghai Dragons. But ultimately, those Shanghai Dragons, they won 100% of the fight so far. Lip and Hua Yu both popping off insanely hard. Krong taking a lot of heat. I mean, getting solo killed by Void and just generally under so much pressure the whole game.
Solo ult now available here for the side of Void. As they get moved out, getting ready to exit this warehouse, they certainly could set up for a big ante, but it's actually just going to only find 2. Krong and Xerneas, however, still going to be prime targets, and Lip is able to take the alley-oop, the setup there, and taking down the main tank. Just chasing forward. Who Are You again, just playing with reckless abandon. Doesn't really need to be concerned too much for his own health. He knows it. He is the one to be feared right now. Dashes up into the stairwell, finds Xerneas, Farway's taken down, and as everyone gets corralled up into the high ground, the cart glides through to the finish. 3.5 minutes evenly on the clock here for the side of the Shanghai Dragons.
And again, it's a flawless fight because what you see here is the isolation of the kill into Krong. It doesn't need to be the world's biggest rampage. You would love to see a big rampage from Void, but credit what credit is due. The silver lining for the Chargers is they spaced well. When you know the other team has a rampage available, you cannot stack as 5. You need to be spacing properly. So you had from this position, you can see from the left and the right side, Charge playing both sides of the map and the main at the same time. The rampage comes on through, connects onto 2, believe Krong and Xerneas. They focus all damage onto Krong. When he goes down, the other 4 members don't have a lot to do there. It's hard for them to engage, it's hard for them to make anything happen, so they're just waiting for Krong to respawn. While that's happening, Dragon's still pushing them, corralling them upstairs like you said, but once they are upstairs, it is prime dash AoE territory for Who Are You, where he just goes through everybody, they rinse out the Guangzhou charge, Krong finally respawns, but his team is dead, and the cap is there.
Yeah, and we just saw that replay there, those 2 crucial kills coming in from Lip, and honestly, I mean, maybe I was misreading it, the scenario that they were in, but it felt like if he doesn't get that last shot across on a Farway, there's a real opportunity for Charge to be able to hold that. And from there, who knows what the time bank looks like. But Lip, when he needs it, when his team needs him the most, he manages to deliver. Who Are You as well, just playing incredibly cleanly on the Genji right now, as we have come to expect. They managed to get that cap, and they finish it out in a pretty quick pace.
I gotta say, I think Who Are You's been the most consistently good player on the entire Shanghai Dragons roster so far, given that he didn't play at all in Mid-Season Madness. Yep. When he was on for Kickoff Clash, a lot of success in KC for the Dragons. I attribute to how good Who Are You's Genji was, and we're back into another Genji meta. And straight away, first blood, found by Who Are You.
Yeah. Xerneas taken down once more. Just Who Are You identifying prime targets, says, yep, that's the guy we gotta go for. Jumps on top and finds the kill. Now looking for Farway as well.
So good.
Right click will just headshot him. Yeah, it's just incredibly clean from him. It takes all the way up to the spawn doors. Yep. And that is a message sent here from the side of the Shanghai Dragons, who are looking to close out this series very quickly.
I've got a guy called Lip on their team, but Who Are You is the one that completes the Kiss the Spawn Door challenge. As, you know, singing the praises of Who Are You, he really is such a powerhouse in any Genji meta. And, you know, when players like Choi, who are also in their own rights pretty good at Genji, struggling to keep up, this is maybe Charge's opportunity to punch on N. As Dragon's back on out.
Okay.
Lip doesn't get
good
a shout.
kill picked up here. That opens it up a bit. Rail not going to connect. Choice They Want dashing in, and yeah, all of a sudden this is falling apart here. The follow-up defensive positioning here from the side of the Shanghai Dragons getting punished. Charges pile in on top of them, get the extended team kill, and now they will go ahead and find themselves a cap. The likelihood of being able to play this in any way, shape, or form is very unlikely.
Very potentially greedy by Shanghai Dragons in 2 separate ways. One, they held very closely on the Hollywood A kind of archway when they didn't need to do that. You can play the choke point. Why are you the one in the choke point? Force Charge to come through the choke. And then when they disengage, they actually used the shout late, which means they didn't save Lip. As I mentioned, Lip did not catch the bonus green HP from the shout, so he just dies. Dragons, had they just disengaged maybe a little bit early and actually applied the green HP shout, they would have saved Lip. Opening this fight, Lip gets the kill anyway, so looks like Dragons okay here.
Yep, nade coming down. They immediately establish cart control right at the archway. This could be a really precarious spot to try to break through. His lip will find a follow-up shot. Zerny is taken down right as Choice A1 was going to be coming, or rather Jimmy was going to be coming right back into the fight. Quick clock now set up for him as he occupies the high ground. DPS ult's about to be up for both squads. It's just going to come down to who can perform the best.
They're not backing out. They're going to commit to this one.
Oh my god. Oh, this is brutal. They just basically need to go for a reset, get everybody back up, and then push out of here all at once. And this is basically going to be a 10 ults once these
I was going to say, everybody's about to have an ultimate, but because Dragons get these opening picks on Lip's railgun, no one needs to ult. Charge don't want to ult 4v5 in that situation at spawn. Dragons know they don't need to do anything. If Charge ult, then Dragons respond. While you low, though, that's a problem.
Okay. Manage out there. Void helping to keep Who Are You alive as Jimmy again getting jumped on as he tries to pop the ultimate. Lip as well, just kind of hugging back, just threatening it. And this is still valuable for the side of the Shanghai Dragons, even if they don't get any eliminations off the back of those ults. Now the Blade's going to be coming through. Later beat here for the side of the Lee J Gaunt. The shielding's going to last a little bit longer for the side of the Shanghai Dragons. Riley's now rolling because they want the later Blade. He's looking to punish the back end of these shields expiring, but he gets pushed away. Anti out onto 4 members. Huge rampage set up there from the side of Void, really just locking back the charge, keeping them at an arm's length. Now he's pushing forward, looking for more. Got that Blade into Krong, pulls it back out, managing to find the elimination, and wow, all the ults being thrown at it. Krong not quite being able to get a rampage of his own, but otherwise, everything in the kitchen sink thrown at this fight, but it is the Shanghai Dragons who managed to persevere, only losing out on Lip.
But that's the thing, right, Achilles? We talk about the fact that maybe we will see 10 ultimates in that particular fight, but there was one ultimate missing. Krong was just a hair's breadth away from finding his own rampage. I believe he even dies at 98 to 99. Void has a rampage, gets the jagged knife connection on Krong, which means he pulls him back and gets the execution. Krong, no chance to ult, and that ended up being the one ultimate that was missing for the charge that could have made a difference.
Yeah, and he's going to try to use it here to break through the point. It is a massive rampage, catching on a 4, but they need some more follow-up kills. Who Are You? Dangerously low, the dash through from Choice A1. Does go ahead and cut him down to size, so it seems like finally some breathing room is available for the side of the Guangzhou charge as they clean up the team kill. But there's still so much distance that they need to close out, and given the time bank situation right now, even with the bump up on B, they are not going to be able to best the Dragons.
I think that's maybe a little bit, again, a greedy situation from the Dragons. Twice now, that'll say, once on A and here as well, where they spaced poorly versus the Rampage. They should have known the Rampage was coming. We're very deep into the map now. Krong absolutely has it. There's no reason that they're stacking that hard. So when you have like a 4-man catch on the Rampage, yeah, it's not going to go well for Dragons.
Not at all. Decent high ground contest is here for the side of the charge. The card in the meantime, though, not advancing forward. It's just going to be held in place. A little bit of a dynamite burn there on Who Are You? Holds him at bay for the moment, but yeah, the Blade about to be available. Now has it. And he's going to pull it immediately. Dashing in. Sound barriers there from Xerneas. Looking to get on top of far away. The double dive coming through. Lip is there to back him up. They will find that kill. It's at the cost of Izayaki, however. So it will just be a trade out on the Brigidas. The card still inching forward. So Who Are You? Looking for another target that he can slice and dice. Sound barrier out from Legion. Using this one early. Choice A1 says, okay, I'll just hold on to the Dragon Blade, wait for the shields to go away.
It's because Dragons were low. Dragons were low HP, so Lee Jae-gon was pressured to use it. Now, Choi has a big opportunity.
Dragon's going to need to look to try to shut him down as quickly as they can. This overclock certainly could do the trick if he nails it. They identify Lip's position. They look to try to get him out of the fight. Lee Jae-gon as well. A target. Choice A1. He's a dog at a toy store. He just doesn't know which way to look. Everybody just kind of drawing attention. He's not really able to focus in on a single target to find a kill. Rail at the ready deflection being used. Lip managing to survive for just a second longer, but Krong eventually does manage to find that kill. Second Blade not going to connect. Void just dipping in and out of the saloon here, keeping the cart locked into position. Who Are You taking down the DPS now? Out of the fight, Void retreats. Looks to get topped back up. Still such low HP on him, and eventually he will get taken down as Krong picks up 2. Seems like the cap on to B, coming through here for the side of the charge, but it's with only 1 minute and 40 seconds now to look to finish the map.
It's a Herculean effort. Maybe they can get the kill to Who Are You here as well, which is would be really good staggers, but it seems like the healing is there now. Yeah, the supports from Dragons have respawned, so well, you are going to live, and this time as well, respecting the damage output. Void's going to take no chances, just pop the shout straight away. No real push coming through. I was going to say the payload's only just been touched now by the charge. There's a little bit of a stall on the payload as the doors open, but need to get that going as time is an issue, as you've mentioned. I don't know whether Bob won in the last fight either, but I don't know if it made a huge difference. Certainly, they still got a couple of kills and enabled the 5v3.
Yeah. quick pull there on the choice they want with the Jagged Blade, but he's behind the pillar, so they can't find the punish. Double rampages at the ready, and okay, a 6-man hit from Krong. But can they get the kills in the back end while they're down Jimmy? Seems like the answer is going to be yes, at least good for one. Choice they want, dives forward, finds the Lucio. Xerneas as well, getting his hands dirty. We'll take down Lip. A little bit of space opened up here for the side of the charge. Get ready to go up the final ramp towards the golden box of victory.
That's a lot of players alive for Dragons, considering they all got hit by the Rampage. No Bob on their team, though, so just a 5 instead of the 6 Achilles. But in either case, we're waiting for Void now to pull the trigger on his own Rampage. He's been holding this one since B. Cannon will be countered by Xerneas.
Did I say 6-man ante? Old habits die hard.
6-man ultimate. Back in Overwatch
there
League,
you go. You know, it hit 5 and Krong is another person. That's 6. That's just math. Xerneas going low to get antied out. Manages to survive. Drops the beat in for his squad. Now going to be matched as well by Lee Jake on the rallies, rolling on the back end. Void finds the first kill. And Krong taking down the blade. Now going to be pulled out. And Jimmy is dead before he can get the bomb. And everybody's zoned away from the cart. Shanghai Dragons just completely flushing them out here. It was looking decent for the Charge to be able to take this into overtime rounds. The Dragons, they put their foot down and they say no. They put an end to it, and now they move up 2-0 in the series.
And you know it's rough for the Charge when, only twice am I really nitpicking mistakes from the Dragons, and even then, it's not even them making any major mistakes. Okay, they do lose a couple fights out of just kind of like greedy situations or slight misreads on like, respecting Krong's Rampage, etc. But outside of that, it's full domination. Who are you? And Lip both outperforming their counterparts on the other side. Troy actually stepped up this map compared to what we saw in Nepal. Unfortunately, Krong can't really hold his own versus Void here. Void is extremely outpacing him. The supports are all doing as they normally would. It's good to see that Faraway and Xerneas are trying to get a little bit more active in the kill feed, but they're also being punished a little bit more as well. Xerneas is very much trying to make plays happen, and he has been caught out for that.
That he is. Well, Guangzhou Charge, again, looking a little bit better here. Some good punishes coming through when the Shanghai Dragons do take a bit of a poor positioning, or when they take up poor positioning, but just can't quite get to the end of the line, cannot take it into overtime. Now need to pull off a reverse sweep if they want to be walking away victorious here in their first showing on the Jungle Queen meta. We'll see if they can get it done, though, as we get ready to go into Circuit Royale, see if there's going to be any change-ups as well. Maybe APAC's got a little bit of a different read for that typically sniper-heavy map. We'll see what happens, so when we come back to the break, so don't go anywhere. And we are back, and maybe going into what could be the last map of this first series after our long little break of the midseason madness. If you haven't tuned in, and you're just tuning in, joining us now, it's a 2-0 lead for the side of the Shanghai Dragons, who are looking very much at home in this meta. Who Are You, especially coming back out on his signature Genji, has just been cutting up the competition, the Guangzhou Charge, while finding a little bit of value there in Hollywood. Yeah. Unfortunately, just can't finish the map. So here we are.
Yeah, it's been tough so far for the Guangzhou Charge. To be fair, it is a new team as well. I mean, we have some fresh expectations in terms of maybe thinking that Charge will do better, but losing to Shanghai today, if this does indeed become a 3-0, even a 3-something else scoreline for Shanghai, who look incredible here. I mean, Charge would have to reverse sweep to even have a chance. I don't think it's the worst thing in the world, because Dragons are a team that, despite not doing great in midseason madness as far as the tournament goes, this is a brand new meta for them where they get to play Who Are You again, and he has been, I think, the most important player on this team so far, which is not something I would have said going into this year. Certainly not something I would have said last year when Who Are You didn't see a lick of gameplay. And now, he is like the centerpiece for Dragon's success. I don't think they can win without Who Are You currently. So, with Who Are You steadily back in and carrying and leading the way at the tip of the spear for the Dragons, it's going to be rough for the Guangzhou Charge. I don't think that's a strange thing to consider.
Yeah, I mean, it feels like Who Are You is very much now in this season earning his championship ring, where he just didn't get to see any play time. Now he's really kind of doing double the amount of work, and it's been wonderful to see for the side of the Dragons. I'd agree. I think he is the best looking Genji that we have here in the region. So he's been utterly incredible. Fleta, we've seen him pick up the Genji as well, and while it's still good, we know Fleta is an incredible player. He's got a really deep hero pool. It just has not been anywhere close to the level of just mastery that we have seen from Who Are You.
I think, right out there is one of, if not the best Genjis, and that was, I think, true in Kickoff Clash, true historically, pre-Owl, and now he's going to make that argument happen again, and plenty more games as we play full round robins here in APAC between each stage, so more opportunities for the Charge to show that their new roster can indeed work, and more opportunities for Shanghai Dragons to prove that they can be the top team in the region again, overtaking Spark, Seoul, Fusion, all those types of teams at first. We've got to get through Circuit Royale. You asked if we could maybe see some different stuff from coming on through. Lippis considering the Ashe, which is not an uncommon pick for this meta. Certainly not as common as the Sojin, but Ashe does see some value.
She does. Well, so does Who Are You. He continues to find it as we play a little bit of Ring Around the Rosie.
How many is that?
And, yeah. I don't know.
A lot.
I couldn't begin to... Yeah, it is a lot. Well, there will be a trade out here on the Briggs, but now Krong is going to be taken down, so things very much broken open on its attack to the side of the Dragons, as Who Are You once more is just fearlessly pushing forward. Pusewan kind of getting bogged down a little bit there by the light fixture or whatever the hell that is on the building, but either way, he dies, that's a stagger, and the cart pushes forward.
Doesn't take long for the Dragons to get out of spawn, and we talked about Ashe maybe seeing a bit of gameplay, but Lips straight away back on the Sojin. I think the best chance to see Ashe is a map like Dorado, or maybe even Gibraltar, but especially Dorado where the high ground, low ground does make a difference. But Sojin just a safe pick here as we move back into territory of our second neutral, as the other clear thing about this sort of compositional meta is that we don't really have any ultimates by the second fight, sometimes not even by the third fight. So 2 neutrals in a row here.
Rail has been charged up. It's going to be Jimmy who actually manages to find some value first and foremost. Who Are You taken down now? It's going to be, the shout coming through from Krong, chasing forward, looking for some extra kills, and it's going to be a good halt to the cart. 1.5 minutes now taken out of the time bank here from the side of the Charge on the defense.
Of the, I think, so far 3 team fights that the Charge have managed to win across 2 and a bit maps now, they have been mostly off the back of, well, this time it'll be Jimmy taking down Lip, but I was going to say killing Who Are You early, which forces the entire Shanghai Dragons team back. So Jimmy is currently keeping the team well and truly head above water, as that'll be at least 2 skirmishes won, where I don't know if we could call those 2 team fights, but certainly 2 situations where an opening pick from Jimmy will force the Dragons back.
Yep. Not quite able to find some connections here in the follow-up shot, so it doesn't build up for another rail, try to get an extra punish.
Choi has more ult charge than Who Are You now, because Dragons have had to back up twice.
Yeah, I was just about to point that out too. First time that he's actually kind of been ahead of Who Are You here. Good feeling, but Who Are You obviously not that far behind. He never is. 6% left to go for a Blade of his own. Quite a bit of damage coming through. Just hit one, jumping forward, Blade pulled. Void already going to be taken down. Front line broken open. Reflection going to be used. As who are you? As that expires, will get railed. Jimmy finding that kill. And once more, they chase forward over towards the spawn doors. And this is looking great from the side of the charge. And as it's looking a little too good, the pause will have to be called.
Moon's calling timeout. Moon's like, this is not how it's supposed to go down, guys. We're calling timeout.
I don't know what's going on, but this isn't what's supposed to happen. I need a timeout stat.
Oh, man. Moon ain't happy. All right, we'll figure out what's going on here. Probably just a technical thing. But this has been the most positive start for Guangzhou Charge map so far. I mean, they've won 2 skirmishes and 1 team fight now, where Dragons haven't really been able to get on board. So the early blade from Choi does allow the Charge to get some mad value here. Dragons, interestingly enough, will not use the sound barrier to respond to that. So they're going to opt to save it. As we'll head back in, we'll see how that gets applied as Huayu does respawn. So we're going to get into the next fight with plenty of ultimates now starting to actually come online for both teams.
Okay, well, whatever the issue was, very quickly dispatched. So good to see. 3 ults held on either side as the Yaki gets ready to have that rally as well, though.
This ends now.
And there's going to be overclock popped on either side. Jimmy looking to match. Shout out from Krong. Now the rally going to be popped. Sound barrier dropped in by Xerneas. Shooting everybody up.
That's too much. They should have rallied
target.
first.
Hasn't really been able to get anybody to hit there. Xerneas does get clipped by one little rail in the back end, but now the blade gets pulled out. Were you looking for a target? Catches Krong, chases up, looks to get on top of Jimmy. With the help of Izayaki, they will. So it seems like with just basically everything invested, they will be able to break through and get the cap here onto point A, which is 25 seconds remaining. So not too much time bank to work with here for the Dragons as they look to just go ahead and get these split spawn staggers.
Yeah, these are going to be huge kills as well because half of the Charge team have spawns that are all the way back on the C point. So these guys that have just respawned are got to be dead. I mean, Krong, surely there it is. Even DJ Gon's even supplying damage. He's trusting Huayu was going to get it done. But I got to talk about the ultimates for the Charge there a little bit. I mean, what was going on? Why did they respond to an overclock with the sound barrier? Izayaki popped the rally to respond to Jimmy's overclock. But then for the Charge side, they did it the wrong way around. They should have done rally first, saved the beat for the blade, and because the beat was out of the way and far away pops the rally afterwards, Huayu doesn't care. He just blades through the whole thing and wins.
He does. Just carrying them to victory. Again, pressure here at the stop. Oh my god. Okay, yeah, it's going to be a 5-man, not a 6. I can count now. Leave the past in the past, but yeah, what an absolutely explosive little fight there from the side of the Shanghai Dragons, all set up by Void to capitalize swiftly and perfectly off the back of those antes, and yeah, as you said, the cap will be there.
I mean, this B, I've used the word flawless a number of times now, but maybe there will be a contest. 1 meter rather left remaining.
They need to stay on this, and right now it's only Xerneas who's playing forward. He will get punished for it, so that should just lead to the cap now that they lose out on one of their supports. Yeah, just pushing forward. Now 3 minutes remaining here.
2 wipes back to back. Yep, 5-man. I respect that Charge went for the final contest there because you don't feel good about leaving the payload alone. And oh, okay, goodbye, Xerneas.
Okay.
Lip sends his regards. Yeah, but the problem there was Krong gets chunked out straight away. So when Krong has low HP and he has to back out, the next person that touches is probably a support player or maybe Choi. But Choi doesn't want to risk his life because he wants the blade. So obviously the support player is going to die to cover for. You don't have an off tank yet to cover your main tank when he has to back out. So that situation was hard to play for the Charge, and well, they've lost 10 members in a row now, 2 fights in a row. Over the course of 2 fights, rather.
Yeah. Choice One trying to go ahead and contest that high ground. Faster build on the overclock. Lip has it ready to go. The blade does come out in response. Shout from Krong. Not going to be fighting too many people, and the beat is there from Lee Jae-gon, just shielding up everybody. And they completely play around the blade, get the punish at the back end. As there's the final shot, Jimmy taken down. Team kill once more.
That's
just wipe after wipe after wipe here at the hands of the Shanghai Dragons.
Who haven't lost anybody. That's 15-0 in the last 3 fights. 15 kills to 0. And now the cap is coming on through. There's about no ultimates available. Xerneas wants to beat here, but he's got no HP. Needs to survive.
3.5 meters left to go. Now the rally rolling, just trying to keep everybody alive. And Krong is going to be taken down. Oh, just slashing him with the axe. Gets the kill. Sound barrier available. Drops it. Does manage to catch the 3 remaining players. Just trying to keep them alive. Overclock, however, from Jimmy is just not finding the value that it desperately needs. As everybody else gets picked off, he has to drop down to try to contest, but does not last very long in that position. 1 minute and 23 seconds as the Dragons go ahead and finish the push.
And I gotta go back to, you know, we'll rewind here a little bit because it starts well for the Charge. Remember, they win something like 3 fight with an asterisk in a row. Again, when you just sort of get 1 kill and force Dragons back, that's not a full fight, but they win 3 engagements, we'll say, in a row. But then the 4th one comes on through, and I specifically do believe they flubbed their ultimate order. They should have rallied first and sound barriered secondly, and they did it the opposite way around, which costed them. But beyond that, the snowballing from the Shanghai Dragons really was flawless, the word I really wanted to use, until Charge came in to defend at the 1.1 mark. But even then, that was a 5-0 wipe, so was that even bad for Dragons? No, they win big from that, but they get to catch out the bad spawns from the Charge as the cap goes on over. Half the Charge members are split spawned, so you get more staggers that way. You're free payload pushing the entire way through as well. You're just maximizing on time and distance while staggering the Charge as hard as humanly possible. So B came on through in lightning record time, and from that B, the final B contestant fight afterwards, Seth, it was, I think, 3 fights in a row where Dragons got a 5-0 wipe, cleaned up all members of Charge without losing anybody on their own team.
It was just so very clean. I mean, it was great for the Charge, basically, until it wasn't, and it just feels like a switch got flipped. They went from dominating on the defense to just getting completely shut out in that final stretch of the map.
It's what it feels like to play versus Dragons.
Yeah. Just suddenly the hive mind activates. Once more, looking for that forward contest. Jimmy looking to surprise him a bit with his Widowmaker. Okay.
That worked.
He'll be far away. Taking that Lee Jae-gon, yeah, sets up for that extra little bit of damage early. They get the punish now. Void going to be taken down in this forward position. Very swiftly broken through by the side of the Charge.
Who are you still getting 2 under duress is incredible.
He gets both supports.
He's got no HP, he's got no healing, no other teammates to work with, and he still managed to tax 2 members away from the Charge. That's actually incredible. In a situation where realistically that should have been a 5-0 wipe for the Charge, which would have been, I think, their first so far of the day. I don't think they would have had 2 by now. In any case, it was a really good opening. Jimmy going towards the Widowmaker, one of his signature picks, by the way, finds the shot onto Lee Jae-gon, which enables the Guangzhou Charge to capitalize and get the kill.
This reminds me of, what was it, I believe Jinmu on Dorado, right? Getting the 20 HP double kill or whatever on the Genji. Just an incredible display when you have no HP, sliver remaining.
Yeah, that was a 1v2, this was like a 1v5.
Yeah, fair point, fair point. Well, who are you? As he tries to climb back up to safety on the high ground, Jimmy greets him with a nice little headshot. So early kill found, but Cernia's going to be taken down. I think he might actually been whip shot off the side of the map there by Izayaki. Either way, the space is bought as they try to retreat. Kong stuck in a corner, dangerously low. Jae-gon does pursue a little bit too far forward, shield fashion to death, but they do send the Charge packing back over towards the spawn doors.
I think that's a fine trade. I mean, people say like, oh, Lee Jae-gon fed there. No, he guaranteed the kill into Krong, because what he does is he moves ahead of Krong, boops him backwards, and body blocks all to prevent Krong from escaping. So if you trade your life as a Lucio for the tank playing the other side, you're Lucio. You respawn and rejoin the team fast anyway. It's very important to kill Krong there, so that was a good play.
Well, if nothing else, we know that Lee Jae-gon is never afraid to give his life for the cause. Often just gets right in there, even if it is ill-advised. Blade pull, rally, backing him up as well for choice A1, goes forward. Instantly finds 2, and as you say, Izayaki getting his own canceled. Good shutdown coming through here from Choice A1. It's the kind of kills and spacing that they need to go ahead and break forward here onto point A.
Can they touch? I think it's too far away.
I don't think they're going to.
I think they're just
going to go ahead and give this one up.
Yep. Probably smart, I think. If you are Dragons, you need Krong, and if Krong's too far away, there's no shot of actually getting a good commit. And even if you do, I mean, we saw from Charge trying to retake on B, it can just be too difficult. So I respect them for not taking that risk and just playing it safely.
Okay, Sound Barrier in response, right as the blade gets pulled from Who Are You. He's still looking for a target. Sound Barrier comes in late as well from the side of the Shanghai Dragons. I say late, but I mean right on time. It's just like a wizard. Never too early, never too late. They managed to find follow-up kills. Very quickly being dealt with as Krong and Xerneas will be the last ones to be taken out. We'll go ahead and once more establish control of this card.
That was Spawn Camp as well. Fun fact, I did actually watch Fellowship of the Ring recently, and even after about 10 years, it's crazy how many quotes I still remember. We'll see how Charge got out of this Spawn situation. It really is.
Okay, well, it's going to be the commanding shout to try to move forward. The Rampage greets them as they exit the door, though, clipping onto 3. There's A1, though. Finds Izayaki. Lee Jae-gon as well. Pressured out, down below half HP, needs to retreat. looking for that jagged blade hit. Not going to get the pull that they're looking for. And Xerneas this time gets the better of Who Are You. A little bit of revenge found here for the side of the Lucio, who widely has been getting punished by the opposing Genji. Digigon continuing to somehow stay alive for the longest time.
Shimmy.
It's the overclock. Okay. Loses it.
And he's not swapping. It's not like, oh, I'm gonna swap. No, he's still on the Surge,
Yeah.
and he just uses it. He just went for it. It was forget about the fact that he died using it, which is unfortunate. It's just the pure fact that it was just an unnecessary ult.
Yeah.
Have to see what we can
Fight
do
was
now.
going their way
Krong
already.
still has something. This will need to be a big rampage from Krong.
Both have been delivered on it. Yeah, he's going to go
It's
ahead
not
and
bad,
dash
that's pretty
through.
good.
Catches onto 4. And it's pretty damn good. Gets on top of Izayaki as well. Lipit just going to be bled to death there. Yeah, Xerneas the only one who does manage to fall here in the fight. Otherwise, it's damn clean for the side of the Guangzhou charge.
Who Are You still just taxing players like, yeah, I'm dead. It's like 1v5. You know, I'll kill somebody and go down. I'll trade my life 1 for 1. So
He's that player that
why
always
not?
will say, like, I got mine.
And he certainly did there. The problem is he will come back late. No, he's actually still here. He didn't come back late for the final. I lie completely. It's a full 5v5.
That it is. Shouts being used. The rally's rolling on either side. Blade pulled by both of the Genjis. Just duking it out. Who Are You finds Krong, but Choice Day 1 finds Who Are You. Reflect. Just answering back a bit of that damage. And then at arm's length, but Lip with the overclock of his own finally gets that last headshot through onto Jimmy. Taking him down. Now Choice Day 1, the lone DPS alive into the fight. And he is pulled well and away back from this card. Made down just to try to prevent the dive coming through here from the Genji. And he staggers it right now. The Dragons can find. It's going to be absolutely massive for them to continue to drain down this time bank because it's just about to be a minute remaining.
Dragons don't want to overstep though. They've been punished a few times now for attempting spawn camps. Some of them can be effective, but both spawn camp attempts so far on this defense on both A and B have not been great for the Dragons, so they're just going to back on out of that situation. They managed to get a pretty brilliant retake after losing to a 4-man rampage, but now that the ultimates are reset, it is Dragons coming up big, but Who Are You is down.
Yeah, just beautifully dragged there by Choice Day 1. Just layering in those right clicks, managing to find that melee shot.
They need Void.
And finish him off. Beat keeps the rest of the 4 members in the fight here for the side of the Dragons. Now the Rampage is going to be available. Void pops that one, charges his way through 4 members, but Izayaki is going to be the first one to fall. The follow-up not quite there. Void does manage to take down Krong, breaking down the front lines of the Guangzhou charge. Just 20 seconds remaining. Now touching on the card. Widely is going to fall into the hands of Xerneas and Choice A1. Wait this one out. Draining down the time bank, trying to wait for Krong to rejoin as swiftly as he can. The overclock popped here from Jimmy, looking to try to find an opening kill to make it just a little bit easier for them to make their way here over to the cart and get this pushed through. The touch is there. Overtime going to be forced out. Now it starts bleeding away. Neil, unfortunately, unable to find anything, and Lip nearly has one of his own.
Oh, Who Are You's going in.
You. Yeah, he's looking for it. The shout's coming from both the Junker Queens, but Krong is going to be pressured out. Void gets on top of him. They find the elimination now far away. Going to be taken out. And the HP bars are just so damn low, and Lip is looking to finish the job. He pops it. He takes him down. And the hold is here in front of B. Shanghai Dragons, they manage to find victory on Circuit Royale, and they take this series 3-0.
Yeah, I mean, that last fight is just so indicative of the kind of neutral difference between the two teams. Given that Jimmy also did actually pop an overclock there, and Shanghai Dragons did not falter. I mean, they did not allow themselves to get freely shot out by Jimmy. They LOS'd appropriately where they could. And players that Jimmy would rather not have to waste shots on were still contesting payload, like Void and Easy Arc with a shield, and players like Who Are You that can deflect. So Charge couldn't really use that overclock to push on forward and gain any space. And after the overclock is gone, Dragons go back to doing what they do normally best, which is kind of out-damaging, outplaying the neutral situations, and putting players like Krong in a situation where he's low HP. The damage exchange is just so favored for the Dragons. Who Are You even spotting situation where you can go and they bait out the shout, and once the shout's gone from Krong, the rest of Guangzhou charge fall.
Yeah. Very nicely piloted here by the side of the Shanghai Dragons, who still look incredibly strong coming into this new meta. It seems like this is very well practiced for them. And, of course, Who Are You is right at home on that Genji. And given the performance that we saw from him today, I think it makes sense. I think it's pretty straightforward that he is going to be our player of the match.
He was a top fragging member on every single map. Not a single player was able to really do, more in terms of output of raw final blows than Who Are You across all 3 maps that we saw today. I mean, he just came up the gates firing hot as hell. on that Nepal, and
Yep.
it did not end for the entirety of the entire series. So it's Who Are You Day for the Shanghai Dragons, and I think a welcome sight to see for all Dragons fans, in that, again, who I think is currently the most important member of this entire team is back on the starting lineup.
Yeah, just a wonderful performance put on by him. And I see moments like this. I see how much of a Genji meta this is and how much individual impact Who Are You is able to have. And I just say, damn, I wish we still had Hoxel as well. Because seeing those guys square off against each other in this meta would be an absolute treat. But I mean, just looking at the stats here, 17 kills with the Dragon Blade throughout these 3 maps.
That's 45 final blows and 86 eliminations spread out across 3 maps. So he's getting, roughly 15 final blows per map and nearly 30 eliminations, just under 30 eliminations per map as well. And looking at pure KDs, he's dying about half as much. So he's got more than a 2-1 there in terms of raw final blows to deaths, not the deaths are being shown, but just from what I've seen. Dealing roughly almost 10,000 damage per map, which is kind of big for a Genji. You'd be surprised, but the highest damage dealers per teams, as far as raw damage output instead of final blows, is normally either the Junker Queen or, in this case, the Sojourn plays as well, where they can just sort of drop in that damage, especially the ticking bleed damage is really huge. Junker Queen players, they're not going to find the final blows, but they are going to find a lot of overall damage. So for Who Are You to keep up 10k damage per map, I think is a huge thing to have.
Yeah, and I mean, right now, just, Who Are You aside, it seems like everybody is very much at home in this meta. Everybody able to pilot these picks to a T. We get to see Void. We saw a little bit of him, some back and forth between he and Fate, but seems like Moon has landed on Void being the stronger of the Junker Queens. He puts on a great showing for it here on his debut. But of course, Lee Jae gone right at home on a Lucio. You've got Isiaki just playing flexible, able to pick up that Brigida, and then Lip on the Sojourn as well. So it seems like this meta might just be made for the side of the Shanghai Dragon. If anybody's going to be able to take them down, it could be a monumental task. So we'll have to see as they go forward and play against some of the other squads here in the region. But for now, signs of life shown for the side of the Guangzhou Charge, but just not quite able to pick up that W. Maybe some more time here with the squad to mesh will do them some good. We'll have plenty more to talk about, though, for this first series before we get into our second one. So we'll take a quick little break. Myself and Avril will come back, chat about the Dragons' victory here a little bit more, and then we'll get squared up and ready for the Dynasty going up against the Spark. So don't go anywhere.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by Upper Deck, the official trading card of the Overwatch League. And by TeamSpeak, the official voice supplier of the Overwatch League.
And we're back. Before we go into our second and final series of the evening, though, let's go ahead and chat a little bit about what we just witnessed here from the side of the Shanghai Dragons, because they came out the gate swinging. We've seen a lot of teams over in NA be able to take wins off of squads that they haven't previously been able to beat in the other metas. But not the case here, at least at the start, as the Dragons still maintain dominance over the Guangzhou Charge.
I think part of it is the strength of the individual members on this roster. I know a lot of people are somewhat justifiably down about the Dragons from how they played in the mid-season madness, but even given that, we're back into, once again, to repeat it for like the nth time today, a meta where who are you can shine, a Genji meta. Seeing Void again has been a delight, and I think the strategy so far from the Moon Dragons coaching staff side is, they've kind of given a fair shake to both tanks. This is not a situation where one player has necessarily been the favorite tank for the team. We've seen a meta where Void was playing a lot of Zai, he was in for a lot. Fate came in mostly for mid-season madness, now we're in a new fresh stage. Void is the guy, and he's been looking phenomenal in the Jungle Queen today, and I would love to eventually get the Void versus Hanbin discussion going again, because that was probably, I think, the two top off-tank players of last season, and now we're into the sort of situation where we're discussing who our best Jungle Queen players are, and we'll have to see a few more games of the Dragons to finally decide, but Void has so far had a fantastic start, which is amazing to see.
Well, of course, when we're talking about, best tanks, somebody who very much needs to be in that conversation is Smurf, who we're going to be seeing coming into our next series. How do we think he is going to be able to perform on this pick? Because so far he has been incredibly flexible, and pretty much everything that he has picked up has looked great in his hands. A little bit slow to start on some of them, such as the Sigma and whatnot, but he has just been the king of consistency for the most part. So, are we anticipating that to continue? How overall do we think the Dynasty is going to look? I mean, on paper, it seems like they're still going to be just as strong as before.
Yeah, I think the next game is going to be really interesting, right, as we preview a little bit about the Sol versus Spark game, because those are our two top seeds currently in the entire region. And that was a boop kill, by the way, confirmed now in the replay that you sort of mentioned in the broadcast. But yeah, I mean, you got Alpha Yi Shy versus Prophet and Stalker, or Prophet and Fitz, depending on who they want to play. It's going to be a pretty deadly game. So I think, right now I would still have power ranked Seoul and Hangzhou as two of the better teams, despite Seoul also dropping out quite early. We'll have to find out what happens there, but thankfully, Steph, we don't have to wait too long.
No, we do not. We're going to go to a quick break yet once more, and then when we come back, we will be ready to jump into that second series. Our top two teams right now in the region doing battle, Alpha Yi versus Prophet on the Genji. I can't wait for it, so let's go ahead and go into that break so we can get back just a little bit faster. And we are back. It's time to go into our marquee matchup here of the evening. Our top two squads in the Seoul Dynasty and the Hangzhou Spark are getting ready to do battle now in a new meta. See who's going to be able to come out on top, because right now it's looking like it's very much going the way of whoever can have the better Genji on the day, and I think it's pretty even between the two.
I think the part that gets a little bit more difficult for the Seoul perspective is the Sojin matchup, because in my personal opinion, and we both discussed, just talked about, this cast is Shy in the Mid-Season Madness versus the Gladiators and versus everybody else, and Shy seemed like the best Sojin. He seemed like he was right at the top there, so we will need to see what Seoul bring to the table. My biggest question is on their starting lineup.
Sure.
Is it going to be Fitz? Is it going to be Stalker? Given that it's mostly a Sojin meta, I'm probably expecting Stalker over Fitz. The only time that Fitz should likely come on air... No, he's going to start.
Wow.
So it's actually going to be both. Wait a minute. Who's playing? Oh, Stalker's playing the Genji. That means Stalker's playing the Genji.
Genji.
Okay,
and
we're talking.
Prophet is on
what's
support.
Prophet doing? What?
Prophet is playing Brigitte. Prophet is playing Brigitte.
Because I was like, wait a minute. That means Prophet's been benched, but you can't bench Prophet.
Yeah.
And they didn't bench Prophet. They put him in the lineup.
Oh my god.
Because my other question was, like, obviously the other situation that we have on these teams is your flex support player, creative in this case. The question becomes, how good is their break? Because the main support player, Vindane, he's going to be on the Lucio. Prophet on the break. Holy, wasn't he a Zarya player in GOATS though? He doesn't even, I don't think, he was not the break player in GOATS. So I don't know that he has the match record veterancy on break. Obviously he's a great player, so I'm sure he can just play it, but he didn't play the break in GOATS, so this is a turnaround, this is a difference.
This is a very, very different and unexpected look. Yeah, I was right there with you, just scanning across, just like, where's Prophet? How can they actually bench Prophet? But there he is, sat next to Vindame in the support role. Well, let's see if the Hangzhou Spark have any similar surprises for us. Something tells me that it's not going to be the case.
Probably not, unless you see, I was going to say, unless you see Architect.
Wait a minute, well, we do see Architect.
Where's Alpha Yi? I understand. Architect has a good Genji. But Alpha Yi's Genji has been ridiculous. That's like his best hero. Alpha Yi's Genji has been a prime leading factor for, I think, Spark's success over the course of their extremely good regular season. So they're putting, Changun's putting the faith in Architect here. I gotta say as well, the record between Spark and Seoul is 50-50, evenly flat so far this year, 2-2 apiece. The most recent win was Spark 3-0ing versus Seoul Dynasty. That was in the Mid-Season Madness. That was the reason why Seoul dropped down to the lower bracket instantaneously. So we are looking for a bit of a bounce back here, but it's a very different looking Seoul squad, of which I have no expectations. I really don't know what this is going to look like.
All right, well, we thought we had the read. We thought this was going to be straightforward, but not the case at all. Architect coming back into play the Genji, it does make sense. Not as much as I think it needs to really justify this, just given that Alpha Yi has been incredible. But this at least makes more sense than when we saw Architect coming in and playing Ana for the side of the Hangzhou Spark, something that he had not done for an incredibly long time. This at least is more in his wheelhouse, but it's still just so interesting to not have Alpha Yi playing here.
Well, Architect's going to have to pop off, because when Alpha Yi plays that Genji, he is extremely consistent. Almost every game that we've seen from Alpha Yi has been flawless on that Genji. Even if Spark aren't winning or they're not in a great space, Alpha Yi's Genji has never been part of the issue. It's been one of the leading good factors on the team. So if Architect can't show that kind of proficiency, I'm really struggling to see why they would run Architect over Alpha Yi unless there's a separate non-game issue, like an out-of-game issue, where Alpha Yi can't play for whatever reason. I actually think, now that I think about it, it might have something to do with quarantine, but then also Irony is here, because I know that Irony and Alpha Yi were playing from Korea. They've only just recently arrived in China. Sure. I was thinking maybe they're still in quarantine, but then that doesn't explain how Irony's in the lineup, so that doesn't really check out for me.
I don't know. Either way, I'm all about it. It's wild, and we haven't even started the game yet. I mean, yeah, as much as we can talk about Architect being back in and what that means, what the hell is Alpha Yi doing, I'm still very much circling and questioning around Prophet being over onto the Brigitte. This is not the change-up that we had anticipated whatsoever.
he's really putting a lot of faith in the other DPS members here, Fitz and Stalker. I was going to say the rookies, but really Stalker's the rookie. But he is a very flexible rookie, and I think on Genji, on Stalker's past, Genji was also part of his wheelhouse in a big way. So this is not unfamiliar territory for Stalker. He absolutely can be the guy on the Genji, but if you are playing that over Prophet, and you're putting Prophet, well, not specifically Stalker's decision, I don't know whose decision, maybe it's Toby's, maybe MMA or Wizardgong, but the fact that they are trusting Stalker's Genji over Prophet's Genji, or rather they would just rather have Prophet in that support lineup than anybody else. I think it speaks volumes on a couple of different levels, in that maybe they're not comfortable with creative in that position. Who knows? Maybe they truly do believe Stalker is just a better fit on that Genji DPS, and the only way to fit Prophet in is on that support.
It could be. I mean, maybe Prophet has a clause that in his contract that he has to play in every single game, because we have not seen him benched. And, you know, they were just like, well, I guess we just have to put him on Brig because we like Stalker's Genji so much. We just have to do
What's
this.
The stat?
So, it could be that.
What's the stat, by the way? That I think Jonak held the record for most matches played because he'd never been benched in his whole career. But beyond Jonak, now that Jonak's retired, like, who has that record been overtaken? Who else can it? Is it got to be? It's got to be Prophet, surely. Because
it would feel like it would be.
I think Prophet, in all iterations of every team he's played on, has pretty much never been benched. So I have to imagine Prophet is the most unbenched player of all time.
Yeah, I mean, I'm right there with you. I would assume that is the case, but I don't know. We'll have to just kind of wait and see how this all looks. But it's going to be pretty wild as we jump into this one. We are having a little bit of an extended, taking a little bit of an extended time here to try to get into game because there was a water keyboard issue, as Vindham put it. Prophet, I guess he's just so jazzed up and ready to play. He's so jazzed up and ready to play Brigitte. You know, pretty much like the first time in forever at the very least that he knocked some water over and spilled it on his keyboard. So have to make sure that's cleaned up because we need all the peripherals working correctly. Obviously,
I heard there was flooding in Korea, but I didn't know it was that serious. I didn't know it was up to that level. So.
Yeah, I mean, it's broken into the Gen G offices on the 4th floor, apparently. Yeah, Prophet, it is a bit of a rainy day, but he is just he's exacerbating things by spilling some water on the desk. But it seems like everything's been taken care of. They are sat down in their seats and ready to get into game. We'll take a look at the map set here in just a moment and see where we go. We already got Nepal and Hollywood in our first series. See if we get any newer maps as well. Looks like no. It's going to be Nepal at the very end if we can go to map 5, which please God give us map 5. But it will be Ilios to start, then into Midtown. Oh, we do get Junkertown. That's true. That's very true. So we're guaranteed a Junkertown.
Hey, if you're playing Junker Queen, you got to play her on the home map. That's how it is. That actually might be pretty reasonable forfeits because once we get into something like a Junkertown, I think the possibility of seeing either an Ashe or, God willing, even a Widowmaker coming out on that map might start to become possible. I still have some questions surrounding, you know, how Fitz can look versus Shy, because I would have said that Stalker is maybe the better fit on the Sojourn to try and match Shy, given how amazing Shy has been on the Sojourn so far. So, see if Fitz is going to do that. I don't think this is going to be the Fitz Sombra, or rather I should change my language and say I hope it's not the Fitz Sombra. It's not.
Well, I did just get word from good old Swing Chip that according to the Chinese broadcast, it is because Alpha E is still in quarantine. So that's why Architect is being fielded for the moment.
So it is not, though. That's what I'm saying, is like they both came to China at the same time.
I don't know. Couldn't tell you exactly what the logistics are there, but seems like that's the case. It's been known over on the Chinese broadcast. We'll go ahead and say it here as well. So we will likely be seeing Alpha E in the meantime. For now, it's Architect. Let's see how practiced he is. Obviously, this is his, you know, much like Who Are You? Namesake hero, you would say.
Ironing also on the Brig as well.
Right on top of Bernard.
Oh, super rich low. Yeah, Bernard taking a big hit as well. That's going to be Spark instantly giving up position of the point itself, so first cap going Salt.
Prophet. Take it down. Bernard says, welcome to the support role. Vindham's going to fall as well, so that's both supports now taken away from the side of the Dynasty. Smurf able to answer one back. Getting rid of Bernard there in that front line, but yeah, it's just a matter of time there. Shy just painting a picture around Fitstrong and outline, but eventually does manage to find his target, gets a follow-up there. And now that flip will be there. 23% established for the side of the Dynasty as Spark gain control.
Yeah, I don't think it's a surprise to anyone here that Shy's already just starting to get these frags in. Setting up, I believe, 3 final blows there in that last engagement. And with Bernard's opening frag, by the way, onto Prophet, allowing Spark to get control and get that flip back. So very quickly now, Spark will catch up, overtake, and the first ultimates coming online are going to be support. So no ridiculous Genji openings here. No who are you on the table.
Nope. Well, slight little lead is there for Stalker. Big one now as he dashes through, builds up quite a bit of percentage. Bernard going to be falling low. The shout comes in.
Wait, no!
Rich trying to survive, but no, he gets taken down. Fitz with a nice headshot, finds the kill, but Stalker and Prophet both going to be eliminated on the back end. Fitz will find a follow-up. Support's out of the fight here for the side of the Spark, but the flip is there. Dynasty gaining control, but can they survive in the extended fight? It looks like the answer is going to be no, because Shy is just continuing to land rail shot after rail shot.
Yeah, he is really just kind of, again, showing why he is considered to be the best Sojourn player, maybe even the best hit scan. 5 final blows over the course of these 2 fights, 50% now found for the Hungry Spark as the ultimate stuff to really come online in a big way. Dynasty trying to catch up on ultimates. They're not that far off, but it's 4 ticks now for Spark.
I mean, the biggest problem is that Prophet is quite far off. He's still 30% away. Already has the rally ready to roll.
I mean, that early death definitely costs you a lot of time.
Yeah. Just hasn't found the stability necessary. Sound barrier going to be dropped on either side in response to the overclock. The blade still ready to go here on either side. No, actually, Stalker had already used it, just didn't get any value from it. Architect still holds on to one of his own now as the shielding has expired. Anti goes out onto 2. They're looking to try to out-pressure Bernard. He goes down to a sliver of HP. The rally helps keep him alive for a little bit longer, and so far, no one has been able to find him. He actually is going to be able to survive the fight. Instead, the focus gets turned over towards Architect, and now Fitz over on the walkway with that overclock will be able to pick up 2 quick kills. Looks for Super Rich on the back end, sets up for the elimination. Once more, the Dynasty will gain control of the point, but they're ticking up now at 42%. A long ways to go if they want to close this out.
It's both teams popping 4 ultimates in there, but it will be the Seoul Dynasty. Smurf with the Rampage will make a huge difference here. Bernard still 50% behind. I mean, that really does count for a lot at the end of the day. Rampage puts up a gigantic amount of pressure onto the team. And then starts to open up opportunities for players like Fitz to get some value on the overclocker there as well. Shutting down Architect's Blade was another big thing that happened as well for the Seoul Dynasty in the previous fight. So it will be opportunity now for Bernard to pop in this Rampage. It will be kind of soft counted by off its rally.
Stalker gotta play carefully here. The rally's going to be called to go for the aggressive fight. Bernard does hold on to that Rampage, but how much damage he's taken now. Definitely needs to hold on to it. Just keep it pocketed for now, but the lead getting ready to be gained here for the side of the Dynasty as they chase forward, continue to find some staggers. Narrowly escaping is Super Rich as he scurries his way back into the dropship, but yeah, last fight territory for either side.
And that's the thing, right? Spark unfortunately end up losing a fight in a situation where Seoul times it perfectly. They know that if Spark lose there, they're going to struggle to get to this point now, and Bernard wants to use his ultimate. He's going to be able to